Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the late 50-cent pick 4 at Naira on Saturday. Race number 8 at the Spas, the Grade 1 Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. $350,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field of crack sprinters. And I think we should start with the number 4, AP Indian, the winner of this race in 2016. Winless now in his last 3 starts. And we were talking before we came on, and you think this horse might have lost just a half a step.
It seems like, at least to me, it seems like it's so far. We'll see what happens as time goes on. It's only his 3rd start of the year. This horse was awful good last year. It's including those 2 Grade 1 wins up here. I mean, he just ran great both times with 107 Beyer speed figures. If he can run one of those races, you know, listen, he's just going to win this race. And he's got a really good running style, I think, to fit this field because there's pace, but he doesn't need the lead. I just look at his first 2 starts off the layoff, the Keeneland race and then the race at Pimlico last time, and feel like the AP Indian of 2016, he would have won both those races. I mean, this horse ran fine, and he just got beat at the end, in particular in that first one, but I think the AP Indian of last year would have won both times.
That's a fair case. The way I looked at those 2 races, I thought at best solid, at worst inoffensive, and against this field, I think that might be good enough to win this race. I mean, he does have a 3-week gap in the walk tab to be worried about. He's 7 years old now. He's had his share of physical problems, but he's the horse that can make his own trip. And as he's gotten older, he's really gotten more tactical, and I think Joe Bravo's going to have him just off of El Deal, who figures to blast out of here, just off of Green Grotto, who figures to blast out of here. And I think just another good trip is coming for AP Indian. If he goes off at close to 5-2, which he is on the morning line, you could argue that's actually a fair price considering his overall body of work.
Hey, listen, I agree with all that stuff. And I do think even with those last 2 races showing, which I don't love, I think he's the horse to beat here. The question for me was just, you know, would I bet him at, you know, some kind of short price in this race, or would I be willing to take a shot against him? And you know what? I'm willing to take a shot against him.
Would you use him in the pick?
Yes.
Let's talk about the number 3 El Deal, and we'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector for this year's Vanderbilt. Andrew Lakeman did a very good job with El Deal. El Deal was good down in Florida, but Jorge Navarro has just taken this horse to the next level. 2 starts, 2 triple-digit Beyer blowout victories. He won the decathlon last time out like breaking sticks, but he won that race over an intensely inside speed favoring track against a field of horses that don't belong in graded stakes races. El Deal's going to go. Can Green Grotto step with him?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because Green Grotto's fast. I don't think he's this kind of fast. I think this horse is just faster. I think he'll get clear early on this field. We'll see what happens. I think you're right. Listen, first of all, let's just get out of the way that I know he's improved certainly for Navarro, but he's been a good horse from the start. He's had his problems and it never happened for him, but he's been a good horse for a long time. It's hard to, you know, love those last 2 wins because you put out, that was a real speed favoring track last time and he took advantage of it. And his other big win is at 4.5 at Charlestown. I mean, how much stock you want to put in that one? Personally, not too much for me. Maybe he blasts off and wires this field, but I'm not betting him.
Jose Ortiz reunited with the number 8 Limousine Liberal, who was aboard for that victory in the Grade 2 Churchill Down Stakes. And this horse has had a really nice campaign for trainer Ben Colebrook, who spotted him in some good spots. He got some easy spots in his last 2 races. He won very easily last time out in the Kelly's Landing. That was a weak race, but he's going to get some pace to run out a nice outside post.
Yeah, that's true. I think there are certainly things to like about this horse. And that's probably chief among them. He's probably going to get a really nice trip in this race. I personally don't love the way that they've campaigned him, you know, sort of picking all the soft spots. I know sometimes you just want to stay home. That's what they did. I don't know how much it really means that he's won 3 races in a row, considering what those races were, but I guess he fits really well in this race. Personally, Dan, I just didn't like him that much, but I know that he can win. One
of the more interesting horses in the race is the Turnback. That's the number 5 Birdsong for trainer Ian Wilkes. And you and I have always felt that Birdsong's at his best around 1 turn. Now, he got the win in the sloppy Ali Sheeb, and for the short term, that might have been the worst thing that happened to him because then he was thrown in against Gunrunner and the Stephen Foster. And in the Stephen Foster, when you take his best asset away from him, his speed, he had absolutely no chance to win that race. So just draw a line through it. I like him at 1 turn. I like him turning back. Is he good enough? He's got figs.
I think I'll say he's good enough. I think he's good enough to go with these horses. Certainly, he feels like a horse who's improved this year as a 4-year-old, so he's got that going for him. And while he's got good speed, he doesn't absolutely need the lead to be effective. I mean, I think he can just sit up close. I like him. I'll probably use him in the pick 4 in this race. I just sort of wonder, let me ask you this, because I'm struggling with this question myself. turning all the way back to 6. Do you like that? Or I like him a little more 6.5, 7.
I wish this was a 7 furlong race. I think he's at his best at 7 or a 1-turn mile. The 6 is sharp. It'll be interesting to see where he is in the early portion of this. Is he just going to run off his feet? I think he has enough tactical speed to at least be in mid-pack along with Limousine Liberal. If you like AP&D, and I guess you have to like Awesome Banner a little bit because they were heads apart in the Maryland Sprint 2 starts back. Now, Awesome Banner then ran into a much improved sprinter last time at Gulfstream and Imperial Hint, and he was hustled really hard to set the pace and was just no match for that horse. Good trips coming in tracking mode here, probably along with AP&D.
Yeah, that's probably true. I guess he ran fine last time. He can't go with Imperial Hint. It's funny that you bring up the race 2 starts back where you say, because you could look at that race
and the way that that's why you don't like AP&D.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, listen, this horse got really good. He really challenged AP&D, and AP&D could not put him away and beat him ahead at the end. So you could look at that lane and say this horse stepped up and ran bigger. You can say, well, AP&D is supposed to handle that horse, and he couldn't really do it. That's the way I personally look at it. This horse has plenty of races that suggest he's a contender in here. He's probably a fair price. I won't argue against him. I don't like him that much.
Spartiatus and Green Grotto, hard-hitting older horses, seem like they're in a little bit tough, especially Green Grotto because he's going to be dealing with El Deal in the early portion of this race. Here are our top selections for the Grade 1. Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. Tell us about Ready for Ride because this horse has always shown some ability, whether it be turf or whether it be dirt. He came back off a long layoff last time out. Was it the wet track?
He certainly likes a wet track. It helps him. He got a great trip in that race. It helped him. One of his main competition in that race was 3-5 India, who wound up finishing 4th. He tried to come up the rail that day. That's not where he wanted to be. That helped him. He had a lot of things go right in that race, but he also ran well. I don't love him, Dan. I wanted somebody else in this race aside from AP&D as my top pick. It was either going to be him or Birdsong. I thought maybe he'd be the better price of the two. Listen, he is what he is. He can go with these horses. He doesn't win that often, but I think he'll get a good trip in this race, and I think he can at least get a piece of it. I'm going to use him and maybe make a little bet on him if he's the right kind of a price.
He'll key in on the 6, Ready for Ride, the 5, Birdsong. They both should be square prices in the Alfred G. Vanderbilt, AP&D, and this is kind of an important race for him. I think to get back to the winning ways, he probably should get no excuse situation from a trip standpoint sitting in 3rd. I think he gets through this. I think he runs El Deal down on the wire. 4-3-6 for me in the Grade 1. Alfred G. Vanderbilt. Race number 8 at the Spa on Saturday. Best of luck.